This outstanding pair of pliers is made from just one single piece of wood, like this. You don't need an axis, you don't need rivets, you don't need glue, you don't need cord. The only thing you need is a super sharp Swiss Army knife, a suitable piece of wood, and the knowledge how to do it. So stay tuned. Hello YouTube! Welcome to another project video. To have a pair of pliers in your outdoor toolkit can be helpful in many bushcraft situations. If you don't have a pair of pliers, it's for sure helpful if you have a plan how to improvise a pliers in your mental toolbox. Some months ago I showed you how to improvise such a wonderful pliers. Today I want to show you another way for more advanced carvers. With only 10 cuts you can turn such a wood block in the right dimensions into these wonderful little pliers. The idea to improvise a pliers in this way is not from me. Many years ago I saw a step-by-step illustration on Pinterest. But recently I saw a wonderful video from an American wood carver. Sadly I forgot his name, but I'll put the link in the description. And he made the same wonderful pliers. But he made it in his workshop with perfect dried basswood, with perfect carving knife. And I wanted to find out if I'm able to craft such a pliers with wood I find just in my area and with a normal Swiss Army knife. And believe me, this is a project for advanced carvers, so I needed several attempts until the first success. But it's a wonderful exercise to improve your carving skills, and the result is just fantastic. And this video should help you that you are successful at the first try. Because of the many deep cuts you have to make for this project, kind of softwood works for sure better than beech or oak. Before I started with this recording, I tried out this project at least 6 or 7 times, and I used also wood from willow and wood from different conifers, and this worked perfect. So not only basswood is good enough for this project. Important is that you split your piece of wood to the right dimension and not sawing it, because some cuts and splits on the pliers have to be exactly in the direction of the grain, otherwise it doesn't work. Important is also that the grain is super straight, so don't choose a piece of wood with a grain like this, choose a piece of wood with a straight grain. I like the fact that you have to split the raw material to the right dimension, because this gives this whole project a strong bushcraft touch. So, at this broken pine, I harvest my raw material. So I make this piece about 15 centimeters long, something like this. So, and now I split it to the right dimension. This wood block has the dimension and the cross section who works the best for me. You can also choose other cross section. This is more square, this is more rectangular. Visually, I like this more. The problem is, on the cross section who is square, you have to make the lot deeper cuts, and this is a problem. If you make this project the first time, choose a cross section like this. In my case, I have about 20 millimeters on 14 millimeters and about 15 centimeters long. Now I want to explain you the concept of these pliers. Basically, these pliers consist of just one single piece of wood that you split lengthwise into two legs. These two legs are crossing each other in the pliers joint. This joint you will carve direct into the full material with just 10 cuts. To be able to show you the principle of this joint, I destroyed two pliers that I can take them apart and show you how it looks like. I hope this perspective helps you to understand the principle how the joint works. If you make this project the first time, I would recommend to drawing the cuts and the splits. The first line I draw in is the length of the jaws. I make them about 35 millimeters long. If you make them a lot shorter, you will risk that the jaws split all the way through when you make the lengthwise cut for the joint. The second line I draw in is 7 millimeters apart. These 7 millimeters are the half of the thickness of the wood block, which is 40 millimeters thick. The distance to the next line is 10 millimeters. And then comes the last line, which is again 7 millimeters apart. After that, I draw in the center line of the thickness. In this case, it's 7 millimeters from both sides. Later, I will split the block along this line. Now I draw in the outer walls of the joint. Each of them have a thickness of a quarter of the total width. The inner part of the joint have the thickness of the other half. After that, I draw in the outer transition lines where the two legs are crossing each other. They have to be in an angle about 45 degrees. Finally, I draw in the inner transition lines where the legs are crossing each other. I make them dashed. Also these lines has to be in a 45-degree angle. At least as good as possible. Now we can start with the 10 cuts. The first two cuts are the most difficult ones. The first puncture or the first cut exposes the inner part of the joint from the handle. You have to cut in a 45-degree angle to the surface, and it has to be deep enough and wide enough that you can finally open and close the pliers. I work with seesaw movements. Like this, I have the best control and I don't have to work with a lot of pressure and a lot of strength. Be careful that the blade don't fall in. The second cut is about the same as the first cut. He has the direction and the deepness of the dashed line. This cut exposes the inner part of the joint from the jaw. I work again with seesaw movements. take enough time and work in several passes until the required depth and width is reached. Cut number 3 and cut number 4 are the lengthwise cuts. Also there I work with these seesaw movements. Because the small blade has a certain thickness, it splits the material already in front of the cutting edge. So be careful and take care that you don't split the jaws all the way through. Cut number 5 to cut number 8 are going along the drawn transition line where the legs are crossing. They have to be a quarter of the wide deep and they have to go a bit over the center line of the thickness. Cut number 9 and cut number 10 start at the end points of the joint and split the handle and the jaws all the way through. Be careful when you try to open the pliers for the first time. If the pliers can't be opened with little force, you must check all cuts if they are deep and wide enough. If this is the case, you should be able to open the pliers without any problems. So look at this. How cool is this? Super cool. And between the jaws you have really a lot of force. Fantastic. So my friends, that's it for today. I hope you like this little project as I do. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and see you next Friday. Ciao!